Round 1.
I'm not quite sure what's going on here. We fight for Earth Realm. I kind of do that every day anyway. Trust me, the fate of the Earth is in our hands. Again, I do that every day.
Fight.
Mortal Kombat! Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Tonight I'm going to take a look at the Mezco Toyz Mortal Kombat X Raiden. And before I even get started, I'm going to say that I am not a huge fan of fighting games. I mean, back in the early 90s, during the whole Street Fighter thing, all my friends were playing it. So sometimes I would play, but I just, it causes a lot of frustration, anger between friends. Controllers broken in half, holes punched in walls, that kind of thing. Street Fighter, yeah. Mortal Kombat, not so much because of mainly a button to block. And that's it. That's the only reason I didn't play Mortal Kombat. But I knew the characters. The characters are fairly iconic. And right now my son is playing Mortal Kombat X. So I'll walk through. He'll show me some moves, some, fatalities. And yeah, that's cool. So I figured I'd pick this up, give it a try. I like to at least give a figure a try. I'm into good toys, even if I'm not that familiar with the characters. And on top of that, if I don't have a place for it, he'll be perfectly happy with it. So, win-win. Now, the packaging is basic black on the front. It's kind of plain. Now, I do like the embossed Mortal Kombat logo here, and then it's in white behind them. It's very basic, but I kind of like it. Now, I can already see the hands right here are painted, the electric hands. The glove, the guard on the back of the hand is painted on here, but you can clearly see that it's just clear blue. And missing paint apps. It's not uncommon on finished factory pieces this day and age, So, I'm not going to hold that against it. But I'm going to get this open and see, the actual figure. That's enough about packaging. Okay, and there we go, out of the package. Now, out of the package, there's a few little surprises. I couldn't see through the, plastic bubble. But overall, where the figure kind of fails in articulation, it's made up in sculpt and even a little paint. The paint apps, for the most part, are nice and clean. And there's a lot of detail work. I look at this and I wanted to compare it to the Jamie Lannister from Funko, where they didn't paint within the little details and stuff. Here on Raiden, all those little details are painted, and I'm kind of liking it. Now, the first surprise was the hat is removable, and it has just a little, where the head fits inside of here, kind of not a bracket. It doesn't lock on, but tension holds it on, so you can have it down over his eyes, which I really like, or you can have it back to the side for a little swag. It stays on there, but when you're posing him, you'll want to take it off, get the pose you want, and then put the hat back on, even though you want to push it down. It doesn't fall off. It stays on pretty good. And then here, I was kind of worried about this lightning ball not holding in his hands, but there's a peg hole, and it took me probably longer than it should have to find the peg on the lightning ball, which I'm having trouble again. There we go. It's just, you can see it's a straight pin right there. And that just pegs right into the hole. And he can hold the lightning ball. That's pretty cool. Now, I said there's some shortcomings with the articulation. I'm not quite sure what's going on. It seems like a mishmash of articulation and then hindered by this stiff skirt lower bottom part here. It's stiffer than it should be. I feel like it should be softer. But let's go over the articulation and I'll show you what I mean. The head, I'm not quite sure what's going on under there, but you get very good side to side. Front to back, not so great. It's about that much. So he can't really look up, he can't really look down. It's more of a, kind of a slight tilt. And then rotation here. Because of the collar, you don't want to go too far. Hinge and swivel at the shoulder. It swings out, 90, that's good. rotates around, but again, this costume is stiff, so it comes out like that. So you can't get straight up pose. Elbows are hinge and swivel, and it hinges almost 90, but not quite. The wrists are hinge and swivel. You get some hinge, you get some swivel. Now there is a ball top joint in the waist. There's nothing in the torso, but you can get some forward and some back. It's not great. Then some rotation. It kind of just glides around some side to side. The hips are a hinge and swivel, kind of a ball joint. They hinge out pretty good. The skirt is split right here, so you can get some movement up. So he can go to about right there. And then forward, that's where it's hindered. You can't get much more forward than this. And then back, about the same. There's a swivel up there on the ball, so you have thigh swivel. The knees are hinge and swivel, and they go back about that far. Again, not great. And then you get rotation there. The ankles are a ball, so you get about that much. So again, not great, but you do get a little bit side to side. So that helps with posing a little bit. On the sculpt work, I really like these buckles holding the shin guards on and the knee pad. And the paint there, the silver for the buckles, pretty cool, not bad at all. Then the gold swirly twirlies here, along with the blue and the darker gray on top of the light gray bluish. Here on the gauntlets, the gold and the blue. It's quite nice. And the sculpt overall, I do like it. This rope looks like it could be rope. It's just part of the skirt, but yeah, it's nice. Looking at it like this, I feel like the head's kind of small. And looking at the package of Scorpion and Sub-Zero, I felt the same way about those. Now, for accessories, he comes kind of with kind of splayed hands out of the package. And these are very easy to pull out. The peg doesn't have a really big mushroom on it. It has more of just a dent on it. So it goes in, stays in, comes out. Now the hinge at the wrist, if you try to overextend it, it does pull the peg out because the socket here is a little deep. You get good movement, but it could be better if this was cut back a little bit. He comes with 2 pairs of just straight out hands. Like I said, I don't do a lot of Mortal Kombat, so I'm not quite sure if this is like a signature pose or something like that. But this gets even less up and down because of how deep the socket is. Hey fellas, what's going on? I'm here to fight in the combat. And then my favorite is the electric hands. Now we saw on the back of the package, this was painted on the prototype. Not so much here, it's clear, but I like it. Now I do like this white glaze paint fog on the end of it. It just makes it a little bit more dynamic. It could have been just clear blue, but it almost looks fiery electric. So I like these hands most of all. Here he is with my ever-present Marvel Legends Black Panther. You can see that the Mortal Kombat figures are a little bit smaller. This isn't a bad thing. I mean, it works within the Mortal Kombat universe. So at the end of the day, I dig this, but you're not going to get dynamic posing that I kind of want from Mortal Kombat figures. The articulation kind of hinders that from getting down in crazy crouch poses, whatever you may want to do with the figure. But just standing on the shelf, vanilla posing, maybe slight action, this will work for you. I know it's an updated look, it's not the classic Mortal Kombat looks, but for someone like me, who's not crazy into the property, that just, like the characters for the characters, this would work on the shelf. Saying all that, I don't really have room for a Mortal Kombat display. So this will go to the boy. He's got his nice little display of video game type figures and Marvel and other stuff that he's into. So it is causing happiness within the household, just in a different way, than usual. If you like the review, comment, like, subscribe, and I will catch you on the Fwoosh. He does come with an alternate head. It's just nasty, but that's a good thing. Just burnt. It's well painted again. The eyes are looking forward this time, but they're way deep into the head. Just angry looking Freddy. And then he has exposed brains on the top. They're shiny like they're, just freshly open. Just nasty. Mortal Kombat! Dun 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 dun.